Hi, it's John and Mike, brew-dudes.com, and I did some more brewing. Have you brewed this year?
I have not brewed this year.
That's great. It's a homebrew video.
I've bottled
channel.
some this year, but...
That's good. Bottling is part of home brewing.
Okay, good.
Well, I brewed again. I went out there, shoveled more snow.
I'm afraid of the snow. That's why I don't
why.
Shovel.
So I shoveled some snow and felt like, hey, it's summer down under. Let's do a down under IPA. I've been writing about this for months. I've been collecting New Zealand hops and Australian hops. Just I'd go to the homebrew shop and pick up another ounce of some weird down under hop variety. So without further ado, let's take a look at that great brewing footage that I took a couple of weeks back, or actually last weekend.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks for the introduction, guys. So, this is the hop lineup for the Down Under IPA. With the exception of Warrior hops, which we're going to put in at the very beginning of the boil for bittering, the rest of these hop varieties come from Australia or New Zealand. So we are going to do I think I'm going to do a ½ ounce of Warrior pellets just to start off the boil. With 10 minutes to go in the boil, we're going to go with the Pacific Jade. I like these. They have sort of a peppery and a strong herbal aroma and flavor. And then right at the end of the boil, right at flame out, we'll throw some AU Topaz hops, and then all of this. We're going to have 3 ounces of Nelson Sauvin hops, or Sauvin hops. I don't know. I'm not really French, but yes, we have all these ounces of Nelson Sauvin hops. And that will be at the end of the boil, and then once we get fermentation going, we've got 3 more days left in fermentation, I will then dry hop with these Galaxy hops. So that is the hop lineup for the Down Under IPA. Let's get brewing. Okay, I spared you the first 45 minutes of the boil because it wasn't that exciting. I did end up putting in 3/4 of an ounce of Warrior hops just because I reread my recipe and decided to go with that. I think that's a pretty good bittering charge. And then in about, I don't know, it looks like 5 minutes or so, we'll add in some of the other hops. We'll put in a Whirlflock tablet. It's going to be really exciting stuff. Hold on. Okay. With 10 minutes to go, here comes the Whirlflock tablet. Wow. Exciting stuff. Now we'll go over and reach over. Can edit that out. I have 1 whole ounce of Pacific Jade hops. Bold herbal aromas. Here we go. Just put that right in there. Why not? The whole thing. Just put it in there. No big deal. Alright, we got 30 seconds to go in the boil. And that, my friends, is a big hop burst. We'll be putting that in the kettle at flame out. As the sound of children sledding over there, you can hear them. We have 1 big 4-ounce hop burst to put into this kettle. Some is AU Topaz, the other 3 ounces is Nelson Sauvin, mon ami. Let's put that in there. Alright, cool. So we're just going to let that sit for a little bit. I don't know. I've heard some people let it sit for 15 minutes, I don't know, maybe a ½ an hour. But I'm going to let that just do its thing in the pot for a while, and then I'll start the chiller, and then we'll rack this all to the sanitized carboy. Alright guys, back to you in the studio.
So some of the key takeaways from this brew session. Since it was an IPA, my starting gravity was 1070. I haven't made a 1070 beer in a while. The last time I made something that high in terms of starting gravity was a mead. So and that's a whole different story. You just put honey in a bucket and suddenly you have a pretty high starting gravity. So it's funny because you know, you have that many or that much grain in your mash tun. you really have to compensate for that. Like you can't mash with the same amount of water. You got to do a little bit more.
Yep.
And you're not going to get as much extracted doing a batch sparge. So that was interesting. Outside of that, most of the footage that I filmed, I showed the hop bursting. You know, taking like 4 ounces of hops and just putting it in at the end. I think that I said like I was going to let it sit for 15 or 30 minutes. I think I chickened out, just went with 15, and then chilled it, and then started fermenting. And I had a couple of yeast strains to go in there. I think I had WLP 001, and then I had Y Yeast West Coast IPA yeast strain. So
why 2 yeasts? Just because you had them, or did you have doubts again of frozen yeast?
No. Well, the Y yeast was frozen, but okay. I think I just bought 2 because I saw the West Coast IPA yeast strain, and I thought that'd be fun to put in there with WLP 001, as sort of a backup. So I'm mixing yeast strains. I'm going nuts, but we'll see how that turns out.
Sounds good.
I'm doing another dry hop with Galaxy hops. So hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have a tasting and
just
talk.
Galaxy.
Just Galaxy.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll take a look at that.
What was the hop? What was the blend of Down Under in the actual IPA itself? I mean, is it just 1 hop, a couple hops?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
in the footage.
If you look at the footage, you'll see.
Okay.
For John and Mike, brew-dudes.com. Brew on.
Cheers.